So I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's my name's Mary Haig-Brown, in case some of you don't know, and welcome to the Peninsula Streams, our first virtual AGM. And I would like to acknowledge, first of all, that we do our work on the territories of the Wasek and Lekwungen territory nations. We respectfully acknowledge the prior claims of these people and try to work in keeping with their teachings of respect for the land, the water, and all that is part of it. And so it's our first AGM. It's going to be a little bit tricky, I think, but first of all, I need to establish a quorum. Do we have a quorum? Nobody can tell me, but it says there's 30 participants at the bottom of the page, so that sounds like a quorum to me. So I'll call the meeting to order. And we've got a lot of people joining us today, I hope, 30. This is very strange. I can't see you and I can't hear you, so I don't know that anything's happening except I'm talking in my hole in my head. You can see me, or you'll only see the presenters and the slides that we'll be using to explain things later. You can communicate with us during the meeting by using the chat feature down at the bottom of your screen. Do you see it? And we'll respond as quickly as we can. But please be patient. If you lose your connection to the meeting, and all you need to do is log back in. Unfortunately, we're unable to provide technical support during the meeting. But if you should be okay. The AGM will take approximately 60 minutes, and we'll be using the Zoom polling features during the meeting. And I'll demonstrate both these functions in a few minutes. So we have 130 members in good standing, all of whom were sent a notice of the meeting. All members who are in good standing as of September 20th are eligible to attend and to vote, but we require a quorum of 10 members. And now it says there are 31 of you there, so, or at least all of us. So that should be plenty. And I can report we've got more than 10, which is, as I say, 31. So I will call the AGM to order. And then we're going to do the voting procedure, because we will be voting on some motions during the course of the meeting. To second a motion, please use the chat function. It's either at the side or at the bottom of your thing. And it's if you want to second the motion, use the chat feature. And for voting on motions, you use the Zoom polling feature. When the time comes to vote on a motion, you will be asked to vote either in favor or opposed. And you do that with a click. I'll now demonstrate how the voting procedure works by proposing a motion. I move that Peninsula Stream Society holds a virtual annual general meeting. So we need someone to second that and the polling feature. Can you see that?
The motion has been seconded, Mary.
Oh, has it? Okay. Oh, down it has. Good, thank you. And well, lots of people are I've seconded. We're okay on the seconding. And now there's the motion. And this is how you do the voting. I move that we hold a virtual meeting, annual general meeting, and just mark, are you in favor or opposed? You see the thing on your screen. And then you click submit. And Francesca should get it. So Francesca, have they voted? %100 in favor. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, do y'all see that? Does it look as if you can vote all right, know how to do it? We'll be patient, I think. So the participants all see that screen. Vote on it. Okay, we have a second here. Now we'll vote on it using the Zoom polling feature, and that's all done. I hope you're feeling comfortable with it. So the agenda. We need to, whoops. We need to post the agenda. Is that there, Apprentice? Have you got that? Oh, there we are. There's the agenda, and I'm proposing that we adopt the agenda. Somebody seconded it? Okay, seconded. And now use the polling feature to vote in favor or opposed. Well, are they voting?
Hi, Mary. Yes, people are voting, and I'll generally leave the polls up for at least 40 seconds just to encourage as many people to vote as possible.
Okay. %97%, and 3 were opposed. Well, I think that's carried.
Actually, it was just 1 opposed, 3%.
3%
of the total.
Okay.
Yeah.
And dare I ask, is that 1 opposed want to add something to the agenda?
Yeah, if you would like to add anything to the agenda, please use the chat function at this point.
Thank you, Francesca.
So I'm monitoring the chat and I don't see anybody popping up. So I think we will carry on.
Okay, thank you. Then we've approved the agenda as we posted it. And now we're going to approve the minutes from the 2019 AGM. And on that one, you had them sent to you a short time ago. So could I have a seconder to, I'm moving that we approve the agenda. Could I have the minutes. Could I have a seconder? Janet does. What about new business? We don't usually do new business at the AGM, but if you have something that you want to say, I will come back to that, as long as I don't forget, at the end. So approve the minutes. Or don't.
Just leaving it open for another 10, 15 seconds. Hopefully some more people will add their vote to the mix.
Okay. Poll results, 100% approved. The motion is passed. Now, the election of directors, we have it there, the seat, they're there, and as you can see, everybody can see that. Those with the asterisk are people that have been on already, and those without are new people. I think they're all here. No, they're not. Oh, yes, they are. Okay. So under our bylaws, we can have up to 16 directors, and we have 16 directors. So that's a full slate. Before I get to voting, I'd like to thank 4 longstanding past directors for their part in the service to the society. And those are Marjorie Garside, past chair Toby Gardner, Judith Kirshner, and Sheila Irving. And I feel we should all clap. Yes, those people have done an awful lot of really good stuff for Peninsula Streams, and we thank them for it. So let's hope we carry on the same without their guidance. So moving to the election of directors as a chair, I move we approve the board as listed. Yes. Could somebody, oh, yep, seconded by Toby. And there's the poll. Can you vote in favor or opposed?
Just leaving it up for another 15 seconds if anybody else wants to chime in.
All right. It's amazing how long 40 seconds is when you're sitting there watching them go by. And there they are, in favor 100%. So the list as was posted is the new board. What was that music? There's a motion now to select the, well, we already did that, didn't we? Select the slate of directors as presented. And we did. So the motion is passed. And now I want to turn it over to the treasurer for Craig Elder for Craig.
Hello, my name is Craig Elder and I'm the treasurer of Peninsula Streams. The 29 financial statements were distributed to the attendees, and if anyone has specific questions, please use the chat feature to let us know, and we'll try and answer them at the end of this presentation before we vote. So first off, I'd like to look at the statement of operations or income statement. In 2019, we had a lower revenue of $343,000 compared to $655,000 in 2018. And the expenses were in proportion as well. And that's mainly due to two large contracts in 2018. One for the Pat Bay gravel that was used for beach nourishment, and also the Tatayat Creek culvert construction. 2019, this year, we had a surplus of about $20,000 compared to $5,500 in 2018. And we should note that the fundraiser contributed about net proceeds of about $40,000 in 2019. So without the fundraiser, we would have had a deficit. A lot of people contributed to the success of the fundraiser, but special thanks should go out to John McDonald, Mike Derry, and Rich Ketchen, along with all the businesses and individuals who contributed goods and services towards the auctions and raffles. Also, thanks to the individuals and businesses who donated money to Peninsula Streams to help us continue our activities. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the support of the Institute of Ocean Sciences, who provide office space and office infrastructure for Peninsula Streams at no charge. The value of this support is likely over $40,000 a year. So moving on to the balance sheet or the statement of financial position. At the end of 2019, we had a cash on hand of $343,000, most of which also appears as a liability labeled deferred revenue of $287,000. The deferred revenue are mainly money received in 2019 to be spent on projects in 2020. And note 6 has all the details about that. We also had liabilities of about $82,000, which included funds repayable to Pacific Salmon Foundation of about $51,000. These funds were repayable because they had not been spent on projects within a specified time period. I think that pretty much covers the highlights of the financial statements. And have any questions shown up? I don't see any questions yet. Anybody else see questions? Can I have the next slide then, please? In 2020, Peninsula Streams, like everybody else in the world, had a very strange year, as we're still experiencing. In March, we had to lay off staff due to the pandemic, and staff did start to return to work in June. In 2020, we have a budgeted revenue of $913,000 with equal expenses, which should lead to a break-even year. And the big project this year that's pushing up our revenue and expenses is the Millstream project with a budget of about $700,000. Next slide, please. We did apply and receive a Canadian Emergency Business Account loan of $40,000. This loan has no interest until 2023, January. And if we pay $30,000 back by December 2022, the final $10,000 is forgiven. However, we're not likely to make any loan repayments until 2022, and hopefully we'll get that all paid back so we get the $10,000 free. This also relates to the next special resolution about loan approvals and whatnot. So I may refer back to this. Also, we do have a legacy fund at the Victoria Foundation. They manage the money for us, and the value at June 30th was $23,745. And we will be receiving a grant of $781 in 2020. People, if they wish, can always donate money to the Victoria Foundation and apply it to this legacy fund. And we hope over time to build that up and have more of a steady support year to year from the granting part. Next slide, please. So unless there are any questions, which I don't see any, I'd like to make a motion to receive the treasurer's report and approve the 2019 financial statements. And Bill Thomas has seconded the treasurer's report, etc. And so now we can use the polling feature to vote on it. %100 approval. Thank you very much. Okay, next slide, please. So in relation to that Canada Emergency Business Loan, the bylaw at the time and the current bylaw says that we needed to have a special resolution by members in order to apply for any loan. So because we were concerned that the funds available for those loans might be used up or not be available if we had to wait until we had a general meeting like this one, we weren't even sure how to hold one at the time. The board decided to apply for the loan and move to change the borrowing bylaw. And so this special resolution is intended to do that. So basically it provides more flexibility for negotiating the borrowings. And in order to approve this, at least 3/4 of the members present must approve. Next slide, please. So the proposed bylaw reads that the board can define the types of borrowing, limits of indebtedness, etc. In other words, so the majority of the board members attending a board meeting can approve a new loan arrangement. But we also have a responsibility to report the terms of that agreement to the members at the next annual general meeting. So we did report to you on that, the CEBA loan. And so that's how we're trying to fulfill this particular requirement of the bylaw. Are there any questions about why we want to do this? Why we want to make this change to the borrowing bylaw? Seeing none, could we have the next slide, please? So I would like to make the motion, be it resolved as a special. What is a quorum at a board meeting? That's the question that's been raised. Does anybody have their constitution available?
It's at least half the number of directors, Greg.
So in other words, if we have 16 directors, a quorum would be 8.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Bill Thomas has seconded the motion. And the voting is now up. We need some special music to play during the voting. Thank you. And 100% in favor. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. We have another special resolution. We would like to amend the membership bylaw. Currently, we have only one membership category of an individual member for $10 a year. We would like to establish new categories of a student membership for $5, lifetime membership for making extraordinary contributions to the society, and other categories that may arise as approved by the board of directors. Next slide, please. So this is the proposed bylaw. So as you see, it has the $10 individual member, student member for 5, lifetime member, and any other category. And this is an important feature that all members of the society have the right to attend, speak, and vote at the annual general meeting. So this is where membership is important, because there may be some contentious issue that comes up where we don't get 100% vote. And you want to make sure that people who are voting are members. Oh, see a couple of comments there. I think they've all been dealt with. So, did Bill Thomas second that motion? Okay, Gordon has seconded the motion. Thank you, Gordon. And we can move on to the polling. Right to attend? No, okay. Can we see the previous slide, please?
Yeah, we can. I'm just, I have to wait until I close the poll before I can go back. So Craig, this slide shows that that motion was passed successfully. So
Yes.
I'll close this and go back to the previous slide.
Okay. I guess I don't understand the query.
There's a grammatical error in the motion. It should.
Oh, the right to attend.
So we can correct if it's, you know, that can be corrected when the spirit of the resolution doesn't affect the spirit of the resolutions. We could change that when we formally change the Constitution and register those changes with remember.
Okay, we will correct the add the "to" in the correct spot when the bylaws are updated. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, I believe, is it now time for the stream report or equivalent? Yes, it is. Thanks a lot.
Hello? Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ian. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, hello all, and thank you for participating in our first and hopefully our last virtual AGM. I know many of you attend the AGMs to hear the full stream reports. These have been my opportunity to tell you in detail in the past about our projects and programs from the past year, and to provide a forecast of what's going to be going on in the next year. There's a lot to report on since May 2019. That's 17 months since our last AGM. There's been 2 summer seasons of projects, and of course, COVID-19 and all its implications for the organization, staff, volunteers, students, and all of you, of course. Over the past 18 years, Penn Streams has been able to adapt to changes in physical environments, changes in funding opportunities and community needs, and now changes related to COVID-19 has presented additional challenges. For example, our spring education programs were completely canceled. Staff were laid off, and the future looked quite bleak at that point in time. However, we began a reopening in early June, and we've been able to undertake our stream restoration projects. These projects were able to proceed because the construction industry was allowed to continue on in this province. But because we had 2 summers of restoration to report on, and the fact we didn't want this virtual meeting to extend too long, my staff and I will be giving a full accounting of projects and programs on November the 12th by way of an evening webinar. So notices will be mailed out to you soon about that, and we'll have videos spliced into pictures and talk, and it should be about an hour full of interesting moments, and I hope you can attend. With environmental education, we've come up with a plan to do Creatures of Habitat, or Creatures of Habitat Lite, as we're calling it. So one day only at each of the 3 middle schools, and only outdoor activities. We'll need to have many volunteers to supervise the students, but it'll all be outdoors, socially distanced, and masked activities with protocols to be developed in conjunction with the schools and circulated prior to the events. The beach program continues to grow under Brian Covell's leadership, and we just signed a contract with the World Wildlife Federation of Canada for $14,000 to expand our reach into more communities, more beach cleanups, forage fish monitoring, and beach nourishment projects, especially in the Gorge and Portage Inlet. We got a few slides on that. There's the forage fish. So here you can see we've started, we've had a beach cleanup and a forage fish survey done socially distanced with masks. And we worked out protocols with that, and also our water quality program. The volunteers have worked out some protocols to respect COVID-19 measures. And so I think we can do these things, but we just have to be careful and think about it, and think about our safety and everybody else's safety at the same time. Let's see, we'll go on to the Millstream Fish Project. Oh, we got forage fish slides here. That's our needlefish or surf smelt, and those first 2 are the ones that spawn on beaches, and you can see the eggs over to the right there. Next slide, please. Now, we're also doing beach nourishment. This is a test beach we've got established at Hospital Creek Estuary in Portage Inlet. So that's looking about southeast in Portage Inlet. And you can see the gravel we've got there was left over from the beach project at Pat Bay in 2018. I stored about 3 cubic meters in my yard, and we're using it as a test here. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to pull those boards away, and we're just going to let the waves and the wave action there move the gravel around and see how well it's sorted, which will help inform us when we do the beach, about 50 meters of the beach in that area, another small beach towards the south. That'll be in View Royal, and we hope to have full support with View Royal on this, and we've got several other beach nourishment projects within Gorge and Portage Inlet and Victoria Harbour to look at in the next year or 2. These beaches will help prevent erosion of the backshore, which is very, very bad at this location, as well as providing spawning for forage fish, and also better for for people as well. Okay, I guess the next slide, please. Okay, the Millstream Fishway Tour. We had a project site tour with some, I guess you want to call them VIPs from the Pacific Salmon Foundation, as well as Mitzi Dean, the MLA for Colwood area. Unfortunately, Premier Horgan couldn't make it, but we gave those people with some of our board members present a tour of the site. And next slide, please. This is a picture taken last Wednesday, I think it was, or last Thursday. Now this is to the left, you'll see the culvert and the outlet and the concrete structure at the outlet of the culvert. The culvert was, you can see there was a lining put in on the bottom part of it, and then there's steel baffles to break the water up, make fish migration easier. The fish will arrive into that dirty water, which will be pumped out when it comes back online. That's just rainwater. And you can see the steps that they'll be going up. Originally, there was going to be 14, but there's going to be 13 now. And it's now being dug out. Where that excavator is being dug out. So where those logs are, that's effectively an island. And that'll be planted as well. We put the large woody debris there for features within the island. And yeah, so that's the project. So it's been a great summer of a project. We've had good weather. We're pretty well on budget and on time, so no major hiccups. We started early in March. Actually, we knocked the trees, most of the trees down, and then started in early June with the rest of the construction. And it was a good thing we did, because we missed getting caught by all that rain a couple weeks ago. So we were prepared for it, and yeah, it's been a great project. I have to thank the workers and management at Rawmax Chew Construction for their professional work and their support. And also Farmer Construction did a lot of work in terms of all the concrete work inside the culvert, outside the culvert, and of the fishway steps there. Very, very talented concrete formers who saw this as a great challenge and very interesting bit of work, more art than they're generally used to. So there will be a call up for volunteers to help with the planting in November. So this will be a great opportunity for you to come out and see the project. And by that time, the water will be running through it, and hopefully there'll be fish moving up while we're there. It's been our most expensive project to date, and it'll come a little bit north of $900,000 over the 4 years when we're finally finished. But it'll open up 7 kilometers of previously inaccessible habitat to coho and cutthroat. Okay, so now in other areas, we're going to switch to the Friends of Swan Creek. Oh, well, let's see. I'll go back. This is the fishway, the tunnel and the culvert and the baffles that are in it, and how the concrete base was formed inside of it. So this is looking through. This is looking downstream in the culvert. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so the Swan Creek group has been busy as usual, hand building structures in the creek. You know, we do use a lot of machines, but Swan Creek's just the right size to do the work by hand. And all of the, I don't know, 80 tons of sand and rock and gravel that's been put in has been put in by hand at Swan Creek over the years. So you can see where they've enhanced riffles by just putting adding extra rock and putting more spawning gravel in, and then they built a new riffle in the Columbine Way area. Okay, next slide, please. You'll see examples of this. So this is what they did in August and September, and you can see the rock on one side has to be loaded up and wheelbarrow down to the creek, and then placed and in a manner that best supports the habitat. And now the Swan Creek volunteers are probably pretty good at it. John Coates, I know you could probably build one by yourself. The same thing with Craig and the rest of your crew that's been there for doing this for 7 years now. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so if we go from hand, we go to machines. So this year we did the second Copley Park project with the district of Saanich. If you look up in the corner there, the fellow with the white hard hat on, that's Dave Clough, who's an extraordinary stream restoration biologist, and he guides all of this. We can see the spider hoe that's in the creek right there, and then someone drilling rock for to anchor the woody debris into it. And yeah, so this is the other side of it. As soon as the creeks get to be a little bit bigger than Swan, like Colquitt's here, then we're into machinery to do things. Okay, next slide. Okay, and if you look at this, if you look at the before picture up there, there's no rock, banks eroding, some trees falling in, not much feature to it at all. And then after, you've got you've got structural rocks in the stream as well as on the banks, holding the banks together, and those will all be replanted. There will be a planting party announced for that too. That will likely be late October, early November. Next slide. I think that I just want to say a few things about Copley. We did another 80 meters, adding on to the 120 meters we'd done last year. And an important part of the funding for that comes from the Pacific Salmon Foundation. And they're always there for us on these projects, small and big. So that's great. We couldn't do what we do without them. We've also been supportive of the Portage Inlet Cutthroat Initiative, and we'll continue to work closely with World Fisheries Trust in Peachy and other activities that are in the area in terms of the Colquitts, Craigflower, and Hospital Creek watersheds that feed the Portage and Gorge waterways. And of course, Mick Collins is a great driver of that, along with Yogi and the staff at World Fisheries Trust. So that's been great, great collaboration. I hope that we're going to do more and more moving forward. I just want to make an announcement with respect to staff. Many of you may know Keegan Patterson, but she'd been with us for 2 co-op terms and then had been started as a permanent employee. She's been sponsored for a master's program at UVic in coastal geography, so we're not that pleased to lose her, but we're happy for her to move on with her education. And she worked really hard when she was here and blended in well. And some days maybe she'll come back to work for us. From my perspective, I'm getting older. I've got COVID hair now, and but I don't have my beard. But I'm still of a mind to reduce my time spent with Peninsula Streams and have more of what I do turned over to staff. But losing Keegan has been has slowed those plans down. And given the fact that Francesca and Brian are working as hard as they can with our present workload, we're stretched. We're exploring some options right now that may include a half-time position to address this. There's new initiatives that we're attempting in the coming year, including school rain gardens and Millstream and Tatayat Creek's stewardship outreach programs with training and stream keepers. So we'll need more staff to do those new programs as well as continue on with our existing programs. As far as our new board, I'd like to first say, as far as I'd like to thank Toby Gardner for his years on the board and as chair, and recently as vice chair, or sorry, past chair on the executive. Thank you. Toby's going to be spending more time with his young family. I also like to thank Dennis Coupland for his recent advisory role to the executive, providing us with historical knowledge and perspective from his many years as treasurer. Our new board, our new executive, which we haven't voted on, but this is no secret, if confirmed, Rich Ketchen will be the new chair, moving from the secretary position. And thanks for stepping up for that, Rich. And I'd like to thank Mary Haig-Brown for her years as of service as chair, but she's going to remain as a board director and member of the executive as past chair. Moving up into the executive, I believe Bill Thomas has been nominated, and then as secretary, and then Craig Elder and Mike Derry will remain as treasurer and vice chair respectively. So that's a great endorsement. And 3 other stalwart board members are leaving this year, as was mentioned by Mary, and that's Marjorie Garside, Sheila Irving, and Judith Kirshner. And I'd really like to thank you all for your help and support over the years. I know Marjorie and Sheila probably been there pretty well from the beginning. So thank you for all those years of service. And again, I'd like to, as Craig pointed out, to thank John and his committee for all the work they did with the gala, anyway. That's going to be tough to replace in terms of a revenue stream this year. We're going to try a few things online, and hopefully we'll get some good participation with online auctions and maybe an entertainment night. So we're working on some ideas, and the new board will hopefully have lots of energy, and we'll bring new ideas to the table. I'd like to thank the others for stepping up, the new board members. Kitty Lloyd, who has worked with us extensively through her role at CRD in the Harbors and Watersheds program. Gerald Harris is a leader in the Friends of Boker Creek watershed. Jocelyn Gifford, who is with residents of Roberts Bay, and a local environmentalist and supporter. And Ian Cameron from the Saanich Inlet Protection Society, and Garth Vanderkamp, a retired hydrologist and active water quality volunteer. So welcome to all of you to the board. Thank you for joining. So we have a full board of 16, and so we want to step into a new era where the board and the membership will have more opportunities to contribute. This will be facilitated by a revised committee structure of board members and volunteers from our membership and the community. That is, we want to provide opportunities for any and all of you to contribute to program and project planning, administrative support, public engagement, and more. These new committees will be discussed and rolled out at the first new board and executive meetings following soon in October. There's so many of you out there that have contributed funds to our projects and programs. Thanks to you all, and thanks to the businesses that are unnamed but are remembered right here and on the website and elsewhere. And volunteers, again, I'd like to give my sincere thanks to all the volunteers, even the people showing up tonight at the AGM. In one sense, you're volunteering your time to see how our organization is doing and how it's operating, and thank you for that. The executive, the board, and the staff over the last 17 months, again, thank you. You've done a great job, and we're going as well as we ever have, and perhaps even better in some ways. And I just want to bring out, we couldn't get by without the hundreds of volunteers that we utilize in our programs and our projects. And I want to bring out this year one volunteer that stands out. I don't know if he's here tonight, but not many of you will know him. I know Ian Grant McPherson will know him, and a few others, but his name is Keith Chancellor. And he's the 2020 Volunteer of the Year, and he has a strong back, a really versatile truck. He's a happy demeanor with him, and he always shows up, and he's very reliable and never says no. And so, Keith Chancellor, thank you for what you've done, and I know you'll be a volunteer on any time project we call you. You'll be there. So I just wanted to make another comment or announcement, and following up on what Craig said, we do have our legacy fund. We are trying to promote it. This week is Make a Will Week, believe it or not. And so if you're thinking about making a will out or changing your will, try to think about the Peninsula Streams Legacy Fund through the Victoria Foundation. And I guess that's it. Do we have another slide right now? Yeah, join us at our webinar on November the 12th. And that's all I have to say. And thank you and good night.
Thanks very much, Ian, for that rushed, as always, because you've got so many things to say. This more or less brings the AGM to a close, but somebody did ask about new business earlier in the meeting. Is that still a question that someone wants to ask? No? No new business? I think we've got enough business. So with that, I guess I've left enough time. Thank you all. It's very strange talking to you all without seeing you, but thank you for coming anyway, even if I can't see you. And I hope that soon we'll all be together again. But that is the end. Thank you.